Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show podcast. I am G1, and this is the GBP. And I say that again because, I don't know, this Copa thing, I don't know. 1 week it's, be careful what you say. The next week is like, don't worry about it. We won. And then it's like, well, did we really though? So yeah, we really got to be careful. And that being said, this absolutely ain't for no children. I'm sorry you think it might be, but it's not. We do curse. We get vulgar. It is what it is. I'm sorry, kiddies, but go somewhere else for your giant monster fun. This ain't the place. That all being said, my name is G1. Welcome to the Godzilla Block Party, and boy, howdy. How y'all doing out there? Happy belated Thanksgiving. It's been a minute since we've been on. The last time we've been on was the news about Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong being pushed back. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been about a week and some change. So let's get into it. Before we do, let me introduce you to my co-host, my right hand when it comes to Godzilla on the G Show, G73, Megsy, my brother Chase. How the hell you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing all right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and early Merry Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate. Yeah, man, it's been a bit. Godzilla news is completely stagnant right now, which kind of feels nice.
Oh yeah.
But man, we're getting into some crazy chaos with the Godzilla fandom right now, and it's driving me crazy, man.
It is absolutely bonkers right now. It's like a traffic jam in LA on one of the highways out there. It's like a traffic jam in New York City, Times Square, Herald Square during Christmas. It's just nuts right now when it comes to the fandom because I hate to use this analogy. It's like politics right now. You're either on one side of the aisle or you're on the other. And that's exactly what this is when it comes to the delay of Godzilla vs. Kong. There's G-fans for this, and there's G-fans against this. And I mean, like, you have your ones that are, like, really for this, and it's like, this is the best news ever. And then you got fans that are really against this, like, no, this is stupid. The movie was supposed to come out in March, and it should come out in March. I mean, it's been pandemonium for the past week and some change since this news dropped. It's been quieting down a bit, but I still see some scathing things every now and then pop up. Like, people are just very, very upset, butthurt, if you will. But, Chase, man, like, what do you make of all of this madness? Is this just typical Godzilla fan shit?
It's definitely butthurt. People are very butthurt, and I think it's funny. But it also is very irritating because it's just, to me, so here's the thing. To me, it's irrational and not logical to be upset about it. Because, in my opinion, and I feel like I'm right about it, Godzilla vs. Kong was never going to be a success come in March. And the movie, regardless of what people say, and there's a lot of people that agree with me. I've been paying attention to Robert Burnett on John Campia's show, and he was saying this too, and I was glad that he said it because it was exactly what I was saying. Godzilla vs. Kong finished their filming very quickly. It started in really early, like around October of 2019.
2018.
What's that?
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, excuse me. 2018. And then it finished in like April. And I mean, all right, filming time, that's not that big of a deal. But to get a movie finished, I know people were saying that it's possible they were working on visual effects during the movie's filming. I don't know if that is a little thing that Legendary does. Everything that I've seen of them making their movies, they have never done that. In fact, the only company that I know that does movies like that, when they do their visual effects, is actually Universal. When they make their movies, they always work on visual effects during the filming of it. But it's only like minor scale to put something in to make sure something fits and works. So I feel like having a movie digitally done and ready to go by March when it finished in April, it probably took, and you didn't think about it, if it did, it probably didn't even start visual effects until, like, let's say June. I don't see a movie being finished in just a couple of months with visual effects. If you want something that looks like it's from the early 2000s, all right, then maybe. But Godzilla vs. Kong is basically Legendary's stamp. It's going to be the main UFC fight. It's going to be the Conor McGregor versus Khabib fight, and you know it's going to be a huge event. And I don't think a movie of this scale was going to be finished come March. And Robert Burnett also mentioned that too, that he felt like it was very quickly and that it would seem very rushed. And he also goes on to say exactly what I said, that I feel like it being pushed back gives it more time to work on it. They're not going to have stress. You know, they know what they've got to do. They know they're confident in their film, and they're going to take their time with it. You know, and that's where I stand too.
I got you.
So when I see the fandom get mixed up and messed up and upset, for one, a lot of the people that I see, they're immature kids. A lot of them are immature kids. That's one thing. And you know, they're not going to have the maturity to understand that. They're not going to understand the logic and reason behind how a movie is made and how a film works. They're just going to be like, oh, I want my Godzilla, and that's it. But that's not how I work. That's not how I think. That's not how a lot of people I know think. On the ones that do understand and are happy that it's being delayed, I think that's where they understand and think too. I felt like from the start, March being a release date was just not possible. Honestly, I don't think it was possible. And so it being delayed, I still stand that it's the best decision, in my opinion, that it got delayed. And if you don't like it, well, there's nothing that's going to help you now, bud. You're just going to have to suck it up and deal with it. And just, I mean, whatever happens, happens. If the movie's bad, if the movie's good, you know, that's whatever. But to be upset about it being delayed, there's nothing you can do about it. And being upset and making a point about it, it's not going to change anything. And it's not going to make you seem smart for saying why, you know, that it's you being upset that it's being delayed. It's not going to, you know, make you more intelligent, and it's not going to make you seem rational. So I just think it's just irrational fans, and the fandom's full with irrational fans, you know, and it's just part of the toxicity of it, you know. It's that people can't be happy, you know. To me, in my opinion, it's like you'd rather have a Godzilla movie just shit out in a bucket, and you want it for what it is. And I don't want that. I want to make sure that it's a decent film, that it's a good quality film, that it is a film that has confidence, that it is going to be a success. You know, I don't care if a Godzilla movie is delayed, because I think that is smart for them to realize, like, oh, we're going to at least want to give our movie a shot to being a success. And I think that's what matters in the end. I mean, we waited for King of the Monsters for several years. It got delayed, you know, and even 2014 got delayed, you know, and we've waited several years before that after Final Wars for a Godzilla movie. So to me, 8 months, 7 months isn't going to be that big of an issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, G73 and his rant can't even... There it is, G73's rant. Now, before I go and play devil's advocate here, because I will say that I too, like, when the movie was first announced before King of the Monsters came out, I was okay with this, because I was like, well, look, a lot of movies are doing that, you know, they're dropping one movie, and granted, it was Marvel, and they had the big plan, and at this point in time, you figure, well, you had G14, you had Kong Skull Island. There's a plan in place. Yeah, this makes sense to drop, you know, King of the Monsters, and then the following year, Godzilla vs. Kong. It makes sense. You know, there's a plan. It wasn't like it was rushed in that regard. It wasn't like it was just an idea out of the blue. Like, hey, I got this crazy idea. Let's just drop these movies back to back. To me, there was a plan, because, again, there were other movies doing it. So I was on board with Godzilla vs. Kong coming out in March of 2020. And, again, this is before this all happened, all this news, before King of the Monsters even came out. Then King of the Monsters came out, and it came out to underwhelming success because it really wasn't a success. And that's when you start to shake and quiver like, okay, what's going on? So I'm happy that it got pushed back. I really am, because, again, I was of the ilk that whether the movie's finished or not, whether we get what they put out, what they filmed and what they've gotten, whether we get that in November instead of March has yet to be seen. Will we ever know? Who knows? What I'm saying is, I like the idea. I was always a stickler for the holiday season anyway, because it to me was just the perfect fit. Whether it's the same movie or it's going to be a different movie. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate with that. So the movie started filming in October of 2018, right? They get principal photography done by April 2019. That gives them less than a year to edit the principal photography and then do the visual effects. I understand that. They already have their base character models. There really ain't nothing that they have to do different in terms of what the characters look like, besides giving Kong a scruffy little beard. Because scaling the creature in digital effects shouldn't pose any type of problems. You just stretch them out one way and then blow them out the other way. You know what I mean? But so all of that, I felt, mind you, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I felt that for the allotted time that they had, if they started filming in October and they finished filming in April, from April to January was more than enough time to do the visual effects for the movie. Okay, so in that regard, they really do have a lot of time, because again, they already have these character models. They're not reimagining anything. It's not like Michael Dougherty said, you know what I want to do with Godzilla? I want to make him more traditional looking, so I'm going to take the 54 spines, slap it on his back, give him the original feet instead of the elephant stumps, right? And then with Kong, what could you possibly do? He's a giant ape. You know, like, what are you doing? So we already had a great, awesome-looking Kong in Skull Island. Make no mistake about it, Kong looked fantastic. So you have that model. You make him look a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned. That's cool. Of course, again, you stretch him and you blow him up a little wider. And there you go. You have your adversaries. You had all the other creatures. Now, when 2014, my God, when King of the Monsters were doing all the other creatures, they have to have those base models. And I'm not talking about King Ghidorah or Mothra or Rodan. I'm talking about the ones that come at the end. They've got the models. They've got the 3D render effects. All they got to do is plug that into the movie and then do what they got to do with it. I feel in that regards, they got plenty of time to do that. This isn't like they do a bit this month, take the next month off, jump back to it this month, take the next month off. It's not like that. They're working through it. So on that devil's advocate side of things, I felt like, honestly, they had more than enough time to get this movie out in March of 2020. You know what I mean? They did. They had adequate time. I feel like everything fell in place. That's, because, again, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months of filming, that's actually a long time for principal photography. That's a really good amount of time for principal photography.
They also did a few reshoots during that time too.
Okay, so that's even crazier, because for me, average, I would think a movie shoot would be about 4.5 months. So 6 months with reshoots, that's pretty good, right? Then from that point on, that's April, you got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 10 months for editing, visual effects, sound, all of the stuff, promotion. That's a lot of time. So that's my devil's advocate argument, counter argument to what you just said. That's not how I feel, though. I agree with you, Chase. I'm not going to bash anybody for wishing it was out now, although I do think some of them are a little overboard with it. I absolutely love the idea of them pushing it back, because King of the Monsters wasn't the success we all wished it would be. Now, whether we like the movie or not is irrelevant when it comes to making money. And that's what they want to do. They want to make that money. So they got to go back to the drawing board. They say, okay, we got the movie in the can. What do we do now? We're going to push it back several months, 8 months. What can we do? Well, what didn't work in King of the Monsters? We've said this last time, a couple of times. Some of the jokes are horrendous. It's stupid as shit. And it bothers me. It bothers me when you have somebody like Michael Dougherty who's saying, yo, I love this material. I love Godzilla. Like, this is my thing. I get mad when I hear somebody like that talking about how passionate they are, put stupid Michael Bay jokes in there. And I use Michael Bay as an example because Michael Bay didn't give two shits about the Transformers. He saw a way to make money. And when that first movie made money, and the second movie made money, and the next thing you know, you got a $1 billion property, well, then he has dogs pissing on Transformers. He got stupid things happening in those movies, and it takes away from the fans, the hardcore fans who grew up with this stuff. I'm talking about myself. I was sitting there like, what the hell is this? That's how I felt with some of those jokes of King of the Monsters. What the hell is that? That would never get by in any Toho Godzilla movie at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at Gareth Edwards in 2014. Did he put terrible jokes like that in the movie?
No.
Nope. And that dude straight up said, yo, I'm a fan of Godzilla. I love Godzilla. And he tried to do something different, yet familiar. And again, a lot of people disagree, and that's fine. I loved it. It worked for me. And a lot of King of the Monsters did work for me. I'm telling you, I watched it recently. I watched it in November. And I still do enjoy the movie a lot. It's just some of the jokes don't hit. It's bad. And it's like, that has no place in this. So
yeah,
if they're gonna...
the jokes really take away from that movie, and I agree with you.
Yeah, it takes away from the seriousness, the severity.
Part of me wonders, were the joke parts actually Mike Dougherty, or were they Zach Shields' part?
Right,
Because
yeah.
at that point, you don't know who really was, but still, regardless, whoever was editing that part should have been like, yeah, this doesn't work. I don't know how this works. I don't know how that works, but like the jokes did not work at all. I don't know how anyone sat there, edited it, and was like, oh my God, that is genius. It's a great joke. Ah!
Right.
How do you, like, and look, I'm a dude that loves Family Guy. I'm a dude that loves South Park. I love fart jokes and poop jokes. My humor's dry. Look, I didn't like those jokes. That gonorrhea joke was just awful.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't like. I mean, the Rick Stanton jokes in the beginning. Look, those were okay. But like afterwards, they just continued to get
right
really bad, and I don't get it. Like, how did this pass?
It was like they were corny jokes for the sake of trying to make it campy, like some of the earlier, not earlier, some of the later Showa movies. You know what I mean? Yeah, remember when the Showa movie started, like the first two movies were serious. King Kong versus Godzilla was what it was.
Now, King Kong versus Godzilla, that movie is funny.
It's funny.
That was a great movie, though. That humor in that movie was amazing.
But then what happens right after that? The humor goes out the window and it goes back to being serious.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. And so now it's like, it's kind of like, well, King Kong versus Godzilla should be funny, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't, because if we're going to talk about like these times now, and this seems like it should be end of days, none of these jokes should be popping up. So I think in that regard, they said, what didn't work in King of the Monsters? Well, people don't like the jokes. Let's go change those dog pissing on robot Michael Bay jokes. Let's get that out of there. And if we really have people who care about this material, if we're gonna make light in certain dark situations, let's do it with a sense of class, maybe, or just
subtlety. Be subtle.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the best jokes I've ever seen have been subtle jokes.
Let me tell you,
like for instance, you could easily have a funny joke where like call back to like King Kong versus Godzilla 62. Kong goes to pick up a tree, and right when Godzilla sees it, he's like, "Oh fuck no!" And make something subtle like that, something in Godzilla's expression, like he knows, "Oh shit, he's grabbing a tree." Make it something funny like that, or just like something. If it has to be with human characters, make it subtle. Don't make it like this thing where it has to be a dialogue joke or about gonorrhea or whatever. I mean, STD jokes are never funny.
Yeah.
Gonorrhea was just a joke because it's a funny fucking word. And it doesn't even rhyme with Ghidorah.
No, it don't.
So it's like why do you think it was gonorrhea? You know, so I don't know. I mean,
you know what? You know what? One of the best jokes to me, and it was a funny joke. If all of the bad jokes weren't in this movie, I think this joke would have actually went over because it brought light to the situation at hand. And that was Serizawa's joke about it was a long fortune cookie or big fortune cookie.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because he knows what he's about to do. He's going to... So he's trying to just brighten up the mood by saying that. But because we already got several really terrible jokes, it misses completely.
It does. It's kind of... It's a very low acknowledged dialogue.
Right.
I mean, like, the way, if you think about it, the way it brought out after all of these things, like, you know, Godzilla being killed, you know, and stuff like that, and him to crack something like that, it actually is a very deep and emotional thing for that, because it's the tone and the environment at the moment is, we're fucked, guys.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, so that's one of the things I could see them using this time to go back and change. Of course, maybe more reshoots, only because what if they're going back and they're saying, okay, well, now we got extra time. Again, I think they had way more than enough time with the visual effects to make them look good, to make it come out in March, if they did start filming in October and ended in April, and then did the visual effects afterwards. I think they had more than enough time to make it look good. I'm going to stand by that without playing devil's advocate here. What I think, though, is they're saying now, well, maybe we could switch some things around because they still have time. Let's add something here. Let's do something there with the creatures. Like you said, maybe let's do a tree gag, even though I think at this point in time, they're so big, those trees are going to look like toothpicks. But you know what I mean? Instead of an inch of that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, in regards to that, I think, okay, we can do something different. We can maybe change up a fight sequence or put this sequence here and that sequence there and just move pieces around accordingly. And of course, if you need to do some reshoots, if there's some really bad jokes and the edits didn't work right, then get the actors back in there, do quick edits, do quick cuts, and then make it blend perfectly. You now have enough time to do that. And then the biggest thing, I say it and I say it again and I keep saying it until the movie comes out. Now you have an opportunity not to shoot yourself in the foot with marketing. You can promote this movie correctly, do it the right way. If you want this movie to come off a little bit more comedic, then make funnier jokes. And if you're going to do marketing that way, do it as a prize fight. You mentioned the Conor McGregor thing. I think that's actually fantastic. Do it as a prize fight. We've said this before. If you're going to market it a certain way like that, maybe, just maybe, you know, it works. But don't go lighting up buildings you got no business lighting up. Don't do it. Don't
travel all the way to Dubai.
Right. Listen.
Like, what? Do you think Dubai fucking cared that Godzilla was on their building? I don't think so.
No. They were happy just to get that legendary money. Put a blue light up in there. All right, here we go.
I mean, I get it. It's supposed to advertise Godzilla because it's the biggest building in the world and stuff like that. But, you know, and Godzilla's the biggest thing in the world. But look, that didn't happen. That was a cool fan flavor thing, but you didn't have to do it.
And I agree. Listen, don't get me wrong. When they lit up the Dubai Tower, I was like, "Holy shit, the Dubai! Look at this!" And then you know, you had my man on the red carpet with the dope ass Godzilla bling. That was dope. But how much did that cost? You know what I mean? Like, let's.
Oh well, you mean the Godzilla necklace?
Yeah.
That was given to him by a friend of his. That wasn't anything Legendary did.
Oh, okay. So then that's dope in that regards.
Yeah. But that actually is a good point you bring up, and it's been something I've been thinking about too. A lot of us have to keep into account, why is Godzilla vs. Kong being delayed? We don't know. And it's like 8 months. Okay, that is a long time. That's almost a year.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
what
dude.
is the reason? What is the reason it's being delayed? And so I was like, I was thinking, you know, I think that with the early test screenings they did back at the expos and stuff like that, I think they took that to heart. I literally think those were legitimate now. I think there's a big mix of things, but I'll go on to the test screenings first. With them getting the feedback that the movie was great up until the dialogue and how so a lot of the characters were, they needed to fix that. I think they're actually going to do that. But with that being said, that opens the thing of how are they going to fix that?
Right.
I think they're going to do reshoots, which they can. They can easily do reshoots. It's going to cost money, but they got to do what they got to do. So on top of that, I definitely see them doing reshoots. I also see that since they just added someone from Disney's marketing team to their team, they're going to have to take time to get accustomed to her. And, you know, I believe it's a woman. So when I say her, if it's a man, forgive me. But anyway, someone from Disney's marketing is now on their team. I think now they're going to implement a strategy for marketing. They're going to figure something out. And so they're going to do reshoots and marketing, figure something out. And this is going to give time for them to also make sure that, you know, and here's where I was getting from with the CGI and all the effects, everything, not having enough time, is that it's not as simple as a 1, 2, 3 click and paste.
No, absolutely.
You gotta animate, you gotta direct, you gotta make sure the details of the monsters are all correct and look good. The polygons are all right. You gotta make sure all of these little details and factors are all taken into account. And if you are doing a movie that just doesn't have Godzilla and Kong in it, which is highly looking like what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, destroy all monsters.
You know. You know, I'm curious to see, because like I'm expecting some type of surprise with whatever is going to be with Godzilla versus Kong. So on top of that, you got to think about not only that, the way certain sounds are with the sounding and the lighting and all of these little things.
Hold up. Hold your thought. You just nailed it. I know exactly why Godzilla versus Kong got delayed.
Was that?
They want to use Rodan's original roar, and Toho is like, no. That's it. That's it. You said it with the sounds. That's it. That's the delay.
or what they're doing is they're refilming King of the Monsters and they're adding it to Godzilla versus Kong, and they're just going to replace. It's going to be the same movie, same jokes and everything, but they're going to just put Rodan's roar in it along with Godzilla versus Kong. So we're getting a 4-hour movie.
No, that's coming out in March 2020. Hey guys, remember this? We fixed it.
I actually think that would be a cool idea. Re-release King of the Monsters.
Yeah, right. Hey, we fixed it, guys. We
Even
fixed
though that would be a disaster, but just do it.
No, think about it. We fixed it, and everybody goes back to see it, and I'm like the only one cheering.
It makes all its money back that it shouldn't make. Yeah, now it's a success. And then in 8 months, then we got Godzilla vs. Kong. Don't even think that King of the Monsters came out in May, because it didn't. It wasn't real. It was fake news. But so anyways, I just felt like that, giving them that, I just felt like the production and the effects, just in my opinion, that wasn't going to be enough time. Just with the scale of the movie, because look, in all honesty, regardless if it's a good move or a bad move, it does sound like Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah and some other monsters are making appearances. Yeah. And I just don't think that's going to be a cakewalk. That's going to be, kind of like a cake crawl. And so to me, March just doesn't seem feasible. So on top of the reshoots, the CGI, all of the effects and the marketing, I feel like that's probably what's being implemented. This is what we're doing now, is we're taking more time on all of this. But I think honestly, the big thing is probably reshoots.
Oh yeah.
I think they've acknowledged, like, okay, some of our scenes aren't great. We're going to have to do reshoots. And I hope they're smart about it. I hope it doesn't cost them a lot of money to do that.
I don't think it'll cost them that much. You really got to look at the talent, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but the talent's not that expensive. If you really look at it, the talent's not that expensive. Look, Millie Bobby Brown is probably going to be the marquee name, even though I think as a child she should be.
The only big ticket guy you really have in there is Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler, right? And again, even him, it's not. He's not demanding.
He's not a household name,
right? He's not demanding $10 million for this. You know what I mean?
And here's something that was interesting on the top of topics of actors. Lance Reddick, he's in the film. And he was on Collider, and he was asked questions about Godzilla vs. Kong, and I'm a little bit concerned with what he said.
Uh-oh.
And they asked him, are you excited for Godzilla vs. Kong? He's a Godzilla fan, and believe it or not, he was in the 98 Godzilla film, but we will never see that because his part was cut out. But anyways, he was asked, are you excited for the film? And he hesitated to answer. He stuttered. So I don't know where to take it, but he says this. I am excited. He said, I'm not so much excited for the film as much as I'm excited to see what Adam does with the film. Because he said a lot of the process of filming the parts were just green screen. And I have a problem with him saying that because I don't know if he means that, no, I'm not really excited for the film. I'm just excited to see what's going to happen visually. I don't know how to take that. But that kind of worries me because I don't know where he's in. I don't know what seat he's on. Are you excited for the film in general, or are you just excited to see if Adam turns it into a good movie?
Wait. Let me ask you a question.
That's basically what you're saying.
Wait. Let me ask you a question. When was this interview?
Oh, it was live just a couple days ago.
Oh, so they didn't even start doing all the crazy reshoots then. I mean, maybe they had, or maybe he hasn't even gotten to his part yet because, remember,
he's not part of the reshoots.
We don't know that. He said that. Then maybe they change it around his stuff. You know what I mean? Leave what he did. So I get your apprehension, but on the flip side of that, it's they're still delaying it and there's still things to come. You know?
Yeah.
Unless, like I said before, they're not changing a thing about this movie. They're just pushing it back. You know? And that could be a very, very, very real...
Yeah, that could be a disaster.
Right. That could be a real thing.
That would mean you're sitting on a film that's... I hope that's not the case, because to me, you're just sitting on a film that you think you're confident with or you're not confident with, and you're just holding it back to make some type of marketing strategy.
And or they could say we probably can save more money by putting it out in November than putting it out in March, dealing with the boom that's about to come. Because again, a lot of people, and I've seen this in terms of going back to the G fans, the pros and the cons of this. A lot of the cons were like, well, there's a Marvel movie coming out 2 weeks before it, and again, I'm gonna see this. Yes. But honest to God, in the percentage of the Marvel zombies because of these movies that are out right now, what do you honestly think the percentage of people who are watching these movies know who the Eternals are? Who read the comic book? Who are avid fans? Not that many.
There's not going to be any household names in that film either.
Well, no, there is. You got Angelina Jolie and shit. But what I'm saying is
they're not household names anymore.
Well, no, she is. What I would say is...
Wait, isn't Vin Diesel in it? He's not a household name anymore. No one really cares about him anymore.
No, he's Groot. What are you talking about? Everybody loves Groot. But what I'm saying is...
Well, they love Groot, but when's the last movie... I mean, other than the Fast and the Furious, the last movie Vin Diesel did where he's in it didn't do well at all in the box office when it was just him as the star.
Yeah, but he's not in Eternals. All I'm saying is, as Groot, people love him.
Well, I thought he was going to be.
Nah, so unless Groot makes an appearance, that's the only thing I can think of. But what I'm saying is, people might know who Angelina Jolie is. If Vin Diesel's in it, people know who he is. What they don't know, though, is the characters they're playing. It's very easy to know who Iron Man is, or Captain America, or Thor, before the Avengers became a thing. because they were cartoons in the comic books forever. I've never seen an Eternals cartoon, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't worry about that.
You got to realize too. Take that all aside. That's like 3 weeks, almost going into 3 weeks after its box office run. So even if Eternals, is a successful, I'm not saying that it's going to be a failure. That's kind of irrelevant. But the bottom line is that, and unless the movie breaks more than like 200 million or 170, you got to realize the movie's going to drop. The viewing's going to drop. It's not going to be making 3 weeks in a row of 100 and say it opens to 150. It's not going to open up 3 weeks in a row of $150 million each week. It's not going to do that.
Right. And that's the thing. Unless they're using the Eternals as a placeholder name, and it's actually the X-Men, which is not. It's really not. But if that was the case, then that might be a different story. It's not. So that's why when people argue
in this case this year, X-Men got railed.
Yeah, pretty much. So like when it comes to that argument, I'm like, calm down. It's not that serious. You're gonna have a movie with a team of characters nobody knows that go see these movies constantly. Okay, so I don't worry about that.
I really don't think Godzilla vs. Kong is going to have a bad competition come November. And that's a good point, too, because let's say they are just trying to work on a marketing strategy and the movie isn't going to be touched, which I bet they are touching the movie.
Oh,
they're not going to sit on it. If they were smart, they wouldn't, and I feel like Legendary's smart.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you said after the test screenings came back and they were like, it was all right until these jokes came in, then that's when they were like, the jokes didn't work in the other movie either. Yeah.
You got to think too. So why is November the month?
Because of Thanksgiving.
This is just part of the questioning, because they could have look, if they're just picking just a random month or a fall date, why didn't they do August? They couldn't do. They couldn't do October because you have a lot of movies coming out in October. You have Venom 2. You have Halloween, the new Halloween movie coming out in October. It's not so Godzilla would have a struggle come October. But what about August or September? I don't know what's coming out in September.
August is a hot movie.
Much. What's that?
August, because it's still like in the summertime. That's usually a hot movie month too. Even though it's like the latter half of the summer movies, because everything...
It's kind of the lower tier.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it in August. I would leave the summer alone.
Look what happened to the Meg. The Meg jumped in, and it did great. But it was also like the only movie in that month.
That's
when
true.
It came out.
Yeah, it was like nothing else came out. It was like the Meg ate everything up.
I love the Meg. I can't wait for the second one. So, yeah. But anyways, I feel like November was a month that I think was part of the marketing strategy. Yeah. They could have, I think this is a part of it, because think about it. You got Godzilla's birthday on November 3rd, and I think it's going to be a great plan, a great idea. I think it's a great month, I feel like November, like Peter Jackson's King Kong came out in November.
December. It was December.
Peter Jackson's King Kong was great as it was anyways, but...
Yeah, that movie came out in December of 2005.
It came out when?
December 2005, I remember.
Okay, December. So November, December. The fall's a good... I feel like, fall, winter is a good time for, Godzilla.
Think about it, because you're absolutely right. The majority of the Toho movies, especially the Heisei movies, came out in December.
Yeah.
So it was perfect. It's let's do that.
I think what has to change for movie companies is movie companies need to stop thinking that their movies have to be summer blockbusters.
Right. Exactly.
I think there are a lot of months in the year that you could easily put movies that do great. Look, the John Wick movies. Look what happened to Black Panther was a Marvel movie, so that's kind of thing. But
yeah,
John Wick. That John Wick 2 came out in like February when it came out. And that movie did great at the box office, let alone that movie, those John Wick movies aren't high-budget films. They make their money back in a week. That's what's great about them, though.
Or how about this one? How about this one? The most recent example, Joker. That movie came out in October, very low budget, and it's $1 billion movie, and it's rated R. So go figure.
I think there's a certain spot like March. March is not a bad month for a movie idea. Right. I think I like the idea when King of the Monsters was going to come out in March, but then it got pushed back. I think March is a good month, but now looking at it, it sounds like Legendary is just cursed with March movies. This is twice now they've pushed back a movie they slated back to March. But we also got to realize, too, this is not the first time Godzilla vs. Kong was delayed. Because it was going to originally come out in May of 2020. It was going to be a summer film. Then it got pushed back to March.
No, pushed up to March.
Pushed up to March. So I think right from the beginning there, when they pushed it from May, I feel like in the beginning, they decided, all right, this is when our movie's going to come out, is in May. And that's our original plan of us doing it, which I thought was great in the beginning because that would mean King of the Monsters would give a year to breathe, and then a year later, Godzilla vs. Kong would come out. That originally was the plan, ladies and gentlemen, was a May release. Then it got moved to March, or moved up to March. I think that changed the whole dynamic of everything with scheduling and production and everything they had in mind. So now I think what they're doing is they're redrawing the board and figuring out, okay, what's this viable way we can market the film right and also have it come out in a time that's relatively safe. Thanksgiving would be the most epic time ever for a Godzilla movie. You get full with turkey and mashed potatoes and green bean casserole, and then you get in that car. If you're able to drive, if you're in a food coma, that might be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go see monsters clash. I think that would be great. I love that idea, and I can't wait. I can't wait to sit in that theater with my bowl of mashed potatoes and just live in heaven.
I've told the story countless times. I will always cherish the memories of eating Thanksgiving dinner and then going to the movies and watching a Star Trek film. It was a tradition, and if I'm not mistaken, it started with Star Trek 4, I want to say. That's the one I can remember. But, I mean, and I got to look it up. But there was always, Star Trek around Thanksgiving. And I was like, yes, I would watch Godzilla in the morning, eat, and then go see Star Trek. It was a thing. And I always wanted that back. I always wanted that feeling of being able to go to the movies after Thanksgiving and enjoying something that I love. And this is the perfect, and again, this gives me and people like me in my age range, a little bit older, a couple of years younger, that satisfaction of, remember when we used to watch Godzilla movies right before dinner? Yes, on Thanksgiving. Remember we used to watch King Kong? Remember King Kong vs. Godzilla used to come up? All that. King Kong.
It's funny you bring it up because that takes me back to the first time I was introduced to Gamera. And it was Thanksgiving, and my dad was like, hey, Chase, watch this. There's something on TV I want you to see. And I remember watching it, and it was on Sci-Fi when it came out. And I was watching it, and I'm like, okay, it's black and white. Oh, crap, what's this thing coming out of the ice?
Yes.
And it's a turtle, and that breathes fire. And I was like, oh, my God. And it was Thanksgiving, and that was when I got introduced to Gamera for the first time. And I'm like, what? And then it was 7 years later, then the It's Heisei series was able to be seen, and my dad was showing me more of that, and I was like, I remember this black and white turtle. Now I want to watch this more, and then I went to Hollywood Videos and I rented all the Gamera movies that they had and watched them.
I'll tell you, man. It's crazy when I say this, but I make no fucking mistake about it. The Showa and the Heisei Gamera series, the second movie, and each one of them are the best ones. And I love Gamera 3. I love Gamera. But Gamera 2, Advent of Legion, is... Oh
I
my
love that movie.
god!
That's my favorite one.
That is a monster fucking epic, bro. That is one you could put that up with the best of Godzilla movies, and it'll give it a run for its money. I love that movie. And Gamera versus Baragon, that is seriously my favorite. That's my favorite Gamera movie of all time. I don't know why. Every time I watch, I'm like, the effects are dated. I watch that movie and I'm like, I love it. And I know why. Continuity. Continuity is key. Continuity is key. But anyhow, I digress. Happy birthday, Gamera. I think I said that before, but I'm gonna say it again. Happy birthday, Gamera. But yeah, man, it's a perfect spot. Godzilla versus Kong. King Kong versus Godzilla. Whichever way you want to say it. And honestly, I would market it like that, dude. Godzilla versus Kong. No, King Kong versus Godzilla. I would throw that in the marketing scheme.
Battle of the Kings, man.
Battle of the Kings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is the King Titan?
That title, One Will Fall, I like it, but I'm going to be honest. If you're going to have that movie, and I guess you can still keep it, but if there is going to be more monsters that Godzilla and Kong are going to fight, I think that still works. One will fall, but what does that necessarily mean?
It means how many times have we seen Godzilla die as opposed to how many times we've seen Kong die? And it's evident. Kong just has to go. He has to be the one that dies. He just has
and he better die by airplanes. Holding a blonde woman.
No. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. If Kong goes out, he's going out in a blaze of glory. I can't see them killing Godzilla because I think that
I think Destroya's gonna stab Kong in the chest, and that's how he dies.
I could see something like that. I can't see Destroyer, but okay, I'm gonna entertain your Destroyer.
The whole Destroyer train is big right now.
Oh man, that's next week's podcast.
Dude, I hope.
No.
I hope Destroyer makes an appearance.
No.
Look, man, if it's gonna be the last Godzilla movie in the MonsterVerse, I want them to have Destroyer.
No.
They gotta have Destroyer.
No.
They gotta have this big old monster that just is just a behemoth.
It's gonna be Kaiser Ghidorah. Yes!
Yeah, I'm just gonna be pissed if they put like a monster in it and just name it like something like Destroyer or something, and it's like not Destroyer.
It's Titanosaurus.
Yeah, and that's actually cool, interesting. I was thinking about it. What if there's two monsters that Godzilla and Kong have to fight?
Oh, that would be fucking.
Megalon Gigan. There we go.
No, I'm pretty sure that's happening. Well, you think you got again? There's no mistake. I honestly believe that when this movie starts doing its marketing rounds, it's gonna have that subtitle "Destroy All Monsters." No doubt in my mind. And
or
then
it's gonna be like a quote in the film.
No,
it's time
man.
to destroy all monsters.
This is gonna be called Godzilla versus Kong: Destroy All Monsters. I'm telling you, man.
That's Charles Dance. He's gonna say this. It's time to destroy all the monsters.
All I'm saying is, if one shall fall, it shall be King Kong. He's a primate. He's the closest thing to a human being. The heart goes out eventually. He's old. You know what I mean? And yes, Godzilla's old too, but Kong is showing his age, and Godzilla just showed you why he's the king of the monsters. Unless they pull some bullshit and they're like, "Oh, remember when Godzilla went nuclear? Well, he's dying now. He's melting down." No,
or like no. Now Kong's gonna go nuclear and he's gonna shoot electric out of his body. That's actually a good question, and I know we're kind of dragging on, but would you want to see Kong have like electricity abilities like he did, or not?
No, I like Kong the way he was. Kong in Skull Island was very crafty, very, very smart, and that's one of the things. And again, Godzilla is too. That's what I love about this matchup. Yes, Kong might be a little bit smaller than Godzilla, but he's definitely more agile. But they both think. You see it in both the Godzilla movies. Godzilla, behind the eyes, the brain is thinking. He's thinking. For instance, when he smacks the male Muto into the tower with his tail, he saw him. He was waiting for him. You see the nostrils flare. He's waiting for him. He's watching him. He's watching him. He's watching
him.
All right, there it is.
Done with you. Let's just end this.
And gets him.
He's like, no more foreplay.
Exactly, and gets him. So, and even in King of the Monsters, Godzilla's just there. He's just watching them when he's like attacking the base. And then he's just swimming there. That beautiful shot when they open the blast doors. And that's what I'm going to call them, the blast doors. And he's just there. He's just there. And the spines are glowing. His eyes are glowing. And he's just watching. He's there.
And the scene when King Ghidorah goes Shin King Ghidorah and electrocutes himself. And Godzilla looks at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That was another thing, you know. So
what? He's like, what are you doing? And then just
so
which I actually really loved that part because I thought that was actually a really comedic moment. But
no, yeah. So in that regard, I don't care to see Kong with any type of superpowers. I think it would kind of negate everything. But they did give Godzilla the fucking, fire Godzilla, which, again, it still pisses me. That's another thing.
We don't see that again. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, because then the game's over. It's finished.
Yeah, and look, that's too easy, And look, here's the thing. I don't think Fire Godzilla should have been in the movie at all. I feel like you should have. And this is where I go back to Godzilla needing help to defeat something. I don't like that. And I didn't like that. I understood the callback, and it was an emotional moment when Mothra did that to save Godzilla. But with that part in regard, you didn't need to turn him into Fire Godzilla.
No.
Look, he was having critical mass and everything like that. Just the nuclear pulse alone, like I said, have King Ghidorah wrap himself around Godzilla, then Godzilla's trying to use his abilities, and there's nuclear pulses while King Ghidorah is strapped around him, and there's pieces of King Ghidorah just shatter, because it's a nuclear pulse.
Right.
I think that would have been the coolest ending to Godzilla killing King Ghidorah ever. Or if it was going to be Fire Godzilla, have him do his atomic breath.
Right.
The atomic breath was so underutilized in the film. I don't like that.
Could you imagine if they would have done something like that and Godzilla, instead of stomping a hole in King Ghidorah's chest, blew a hole through King Ghidorah's chest? Because we've never seen that before.
Yeah, and then when the hole gets broken out, you see Godzilla's face through the hole.
Oh, God, that's it. And then just King Ghidorah just flops. I would have fucking loved that.
And you see, King Ghidorah's trying to regenerate and stuff, but the fire that's now burning in King Ghidorah it's too powerful and just starts to burn King Ghidorah instead of regenerating. That would have been awesome.
That's right. I forgot about the regeneration part. Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But listen, brother, we're going to wrap this up here, man. We went on and on. We got other things we were going to talk about, but let's save that for next week. Let's say that for next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Because
we are very passionate about this subject.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. But ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode. This episode of the Godzilla Block Party. Brother Chase, man, thank you for being with us today.
As always, it is my pleasure.
It was a good time. It was a fun time. And again, I trust me when I say I played devil's advocate. I love the idea of them moving into November. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You tell us what you think. I am G1, and we out of here. Peace.